Alright, hey everyone, welcome to another Steam Deck video. Today we're taking a quick look at Frostpunk 2 on the Steam Deck. Now Frostpunk 2 is a city builder slash survivor slash dystopian builder, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much a strategy game, a top-down view strategy game where you build a city, you try to survive with minimal resources. It's the continuation to the first Frostpunk game, which I have also checked on the Steam Deck. And long story short, it runs pretty good. Now the game does support FSR and frame generation. However, frame generation for some reason cannot be turned on the Steam Deck. So the footage that we're looking at right now is at the lowest settings with FSR 3 set to balanced. And the only caveat to this game is that it doesn't have controller support. This, however, does not mean that you're not able to play it on the Steam Deck, because the game doesn't really require that much control. You can navigate around using the joysticks and you can use the trackpads as a mouse. Now there are a couple of hotkeys that you can set up, such as to rotate the view, zoom in. You can actually zoom in, zoom out with the R1 and L1. And it's a pretty good game to play on the Steam Deck. Now in terms of battery life, it's not really great. It's about an hour and 30 minutes on the lowest settings. And we can't quite reach 50 FPS. Now, the thing with these games is that the more you build, the more stuff there is on screen. So the bigger your city becomes, the more you progress to the game, the more the FPS will drop. But still, at the lowest settings, it's perfectly playable. I think for this type of game, you don't require anything above 30 FPS. So it's still pretty good. So the game offers a couple of presets. We just looked at the lowest, now we're looking at the next step up, which is low, and we've dropped to about 40 FPS, which is still pretty good. The battery life is about the same, an hour and a half, and there's just a little bit more detail on the screen. Now, I don't really recommend playing on anything above the lowest because the Steam Deck will get quite hot playing this game. In fact, you can actually play on medium or high settings, but I would suggest limiting the FPS to 30 to just save some battery life and to just make sure your Steam Deck doesn't overheat. Next up, we're looking at the medium settings, again with FSR 3 set to balanced. Now with medium settings, we're losing about 15 minutes of battery life, and the game does look a little bit better, but again, this is where the Steam Deck starts to struggle. We're gonna get around 20, 24, 30 FPS, but in most cases it's gonna be below 30 FPS. So you definitely want to be playing on low, on the lowest or some combination of low and medium settings to just get this to at least 30 to have some pleasurable experience. We're also going to test out the very high settings in this next clip, and it's really not recommended to play on the very high settings. The FPS will drop below 20, and this is even in the first stages of the game. So my city is just in the beginning stages. I haven't really built a lot of districts, so it's gonna get worse than 18 FPS. Currently we're sitting at 16, 18 FPS, and the more I build, the more it's gonna drop. So high settings really not recommended. Battery life is still about the same, an hour and 15 minutes. Between medium and high there isn't much of a difference, but as you can see, the game really starts to struggle. The Steam Deck really starts to struggle with these settings. The game does offer a recommended layout, and it will detect your hardware. So with the recommended layout, we are back to the high 40s and low 50s. So this is a combination between the lowest, low, and some settings on medium. I think the texture settings here is set to medium. So you can use the recommended settings that the game sets up, and this is going to be a pretty good experience on this game. This is a quick short video taking a look at Frostpunk. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know if you want me to make more short form content, and I'll see you in the next video.